welcome to the Weekend Big Show, powered by Lawdog Sports. I am Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, here with you on a hot Friday in July. And usually when it gets this hot, you will find yours truly just really staying inside under the air conditioning. And I've seen those posts as of late of the people who pay tribute to, I forget the first name, but his last name was Carrier, which coincides with the brand of air conditioning machinery. But he was the person who invented the air conditioner, and we salute him today with a big old cup of coffee and a ceiling fan, and then also an air conditioner set at about 73 degrees. And the reason I set mine at 73 is I'm a bit warm-natured. My wife is a little bit cold-natured, but we keep it at about 73 because what I've noticed with a lot of homes is they're not exactly balanced with the airflow and the temperature. So one room will be super cold, one room won't be. Part of that depends on the time of the day. It's all first world problems. That's what it is. So, but anyways, we want to thank the inventor of the air conditioner, Mr. Carrier. We appreciate you to infinity and beyond. Flying solo today, as Jeremy Schroeder texted me last night, told me he's got some dad duties today, and mentioned that it's an orientation day for him. And I'm assuming his daughter, who graduated from Norman Public Schools last year, and they it's just so stunning because I'm sitting here looking across behind the camera in the Ramsey Broadcasting Studios as we speak at the fact that he took her to I think a Comic-Con in San Diego one time, or maybe it was in Seattle. I can't remember. But she, out of the niceness of her little heart, gave me actually it's back here in the corner. It was a Baker Mayfield pop thing, whatever the pop things are, the little caricature dolls. But anyways, so his lovely young daughter gave me that as a gift, and that's been probably 5, maybe 6 years ago. So anyways, she is a college student now, so Jeremy gets to experience her going through her collegiate days, and that'll be a lot of fun for them. But he's gone, and I decided, well, we should press on because there was enough going on this week that maybe, just maybe, I could throw together some sort of program for you today. Because, in this day and time, I know that we're not Mike and Mike level or something like that, but we are, trying to build a brand. And one way to build a brand is to keep flowing content. And that's what the key is here. So we will be here. It may go 45 minutes, may go an hour. We'll see. And your comments are welcome. Also, the studio line is open for the first time in a long time. 580-952-9145. It's down there at the bottom of the scroll. If you want to call in, please do. If you do, you'll hear the ring here because I don't have a studio producer, but we will get to it if you want to call into the show and contribute. Well, big week this week. It was World Cup elimination. It was Big 12 media days, and also the summer league for the NBAs got started, and baseball, my All-Star break is coming up. There's a 3-game series this weekend for all the squads, and just a lot of great stuff going on in July, which a lot of people normally don't think that there is a ton to go into. But once you get coaches on the podium and start speaking, and then also all the prognostications and things like that, there is subject matter out there. Before we got into one thing, there was a story and I saw it on social media, and I haven't dug too deep into it. But as a play-by-play announcer, I mean, I never did that job as a single young man. I started my play-by-play career as at the age of 50, basically. Jacob Toby, the play-by-play announcer for Spurs broadcasts. I don't know if that's the KENS broadcast or if it's their Bally's, whatever their network. He's teamed up with Sean Elliott on their broadcast, but he's been fired by the team as their play-by-play announcer. And the allegation is that an ex-girlfriend came out with accusations that he had an affair with a player's sister. And from everything I'm reading so far on social media, the player's sister is that of Lindy Waters, the Norman product, the OSU product, former Thunder guard, and now with the Spurs, played a reserve role for the Spurs on their finals run this season. I don't know the name of Lindy Waters' sister. Saw some tidbits on social media. Coward said that he should get a lawyer. I don't know. What do you say? What do you think? I look at it and I say, okay, she's a consenting adult. He's a consenting adult. Are there issues where, she may compromise his objectivity on the broadcast if future brother-in-law maybe or something like that gets in the game? I don't know. I don't know if that's a hill that would necessarily have to be breached. I don't know if it rises to the level of saying, hey, you two knock this off. Because one thing about play-by-play, and I found this out with the Weatherford Nation, is for better or for worse, when you're doing their games on a consistent basis, and I guess this guy took over for Bill Land probably 3 years ago, I think was when Bill retired. The fans get used to a guy. The fans start appreciating that person. Anytime there's a change, there's always the people that say, wish he's not Bill. And granted that, people develop their favorites and develop their likes, so to speak. But an ex-girlfriend throwing up to the team that he's having an affair. Well, you're not married. Maybe you're dating, maybe you're living together. I don't know, but there's no marriage involved. There's no implication of, power and control, as we hear in these sexual harassment and boss to subordinate sexual relation things going on. I don't understand why it rose to the level of a termination. Maybe they just were tired of his shtick. I don't know. I saw some clips of his broadcast. He's Native American, and so would Lindy Waters' wife be Native American. So, there's that angle where they could, they would have a connection, both being Native American. I don't know. Good luck to the Spurs replacing somebody. I mean, this is the time to do it, I guess. You'll have somebody in there ready to get prepped even once that, fall ball starts, and somebody can, if they get somebody in there, they can find out, a lot about the team during summer league and things like that. But not sure what the rationale was, not sure what the deal was, but it has been making some headlines on the social media front. So if you've got a take on that, give it to us on the comment line or give us a call. And that's 580-952-9145. We'd love to hear from you. So Big 12 Media Days, recapping over the weekend and or over the week, started up earlier in the week. And, I got to say, it looks like the Cowboys of Stillwater, OSU, are probably on people's radar. I would go that far as to say that OSU, they're probably more on people's radar than any 1-11 team has been coming into their new season. And a lot of that is the hype and the excitement around head coach Eric Morris and basically the transition of the University of North Texas about 2.5 hours north on I-35 up to Stillwater. A lot of players involved in the media days. Drew Mestamaker, he's going to draw attention. I think Caleb Hawkins will too. you know, I just bought my forecast magazines this week, and I haven't really had a great chance to dig into those. I know Lindy's, which is one of the publications that I'll generally buy for all sports. I think they had them ranked at. I think they had OSU ranked at 30th, picked at 6th in the Big 12. So I think what we're seeing is, and by Lindy's top 25 picks, the highest picked team was Texas Tech, and they are at 14th. So that area between 14 and 25 is full of some Big 12 teams. BYU at 15, Houston at 17, and I believe Utah at 22. So, and then you can also throw Arizona in there. I think they're 28. And so, kind of one of those what you would expect with the bottom of the Power Four conferences. That's kind of where they are. But I mean, you're picking OSU 6th and giving them a 30th in the country rating coming off of a 111 season. Granted, North Texas had an amazing season last year, put up a lot of yards, played good defense too, but just really kind of got blown out in some matches where they had, I would say equal or superior talent, and part of that was, the loss against Florida Atlantic, which was just really no, it was South Florida. My apologies, South Florida, 63-36. I mean, just and South Florida is the team that went into the swamp and beat the Gators. So but big wins over Texas San Antonio, Charlotte, and they defeated Navy. Fell to Tulane in that AAC title game, 34-21. So, just some big matches, but 2 losses. And like I said, that USF game was at home, and the Bulls came in and just really got all over that North Texas defense. But Eric Morris, I think, is a high quality coach. I thought he did well at the media days. I saw him on Big 12 Studios with Louis Riddick and Dusty Dvorak. I think he's the guy. I think he's the guy they did. I just don't know about the expectations this fast into it. And I know that off of the portal stories that we've seen with some of the squads, and then Kurt Signetti winning a national title with quite a few portal additions and teams that can go out and get players. I get the fact that the turnarounds can be really fast, but it will, to me, it will a lot depend on the offensive and defensive lines. Now, it's funny because the Big 12 is going to be what the Big 12 has always been. It's going to be a lot of quality quarterbacks and a lot of offense. And Texas Tech, so far to me, and maybe a little bit of BYU, but Texas Tech last season's the only squad that showed me that they really had the defensive, prowess, I guess you could say, to stall a lot of these Big 12 offenses. And they return a lot of, they've got another big offense lined up. Now, defense. Texas Tech's deal is going to be their offense. And there's a lot of, talk about the whole Sorsby saga. We'll get into that in a little bit. But, Texas Tech coming off their own 12-2 season looks to just, keep chugging along with those portal additions and that double eagle money. But OSU, and I think Jeremy and I talked about this maybe just a couple of weeks ago, a turnaround season is 5 or 6 wins, and I'm looking at their schedule. So they go to Tulsa. They open the season at Tulsa. Then Oregon comes to town. Oregon is a contender in most polls, and we'll pull up the ESPN FPI here in a minute. But Oregon is a contender in most polls the top 5 team in the country, no doubt. And there's people that have them going potentially all the way. And then you get Murray State coming into Boone Pickens Stadium on the 19th, and then you travel to Morgantown in West Virginia. And we saw Rich Rodriguez on the Big 12 Media Day circuit. He's confident. He's got a system, and he thinks he's got a very mobile quarterback ready to go in one transfer, Michael Hawkins from the University of Oklahoma. So, just a situation where it starts out pretty rough. Then they've got a bye week on the 3rd, and then Scott Frost and the UCF Knights come in on the 10th. Then trips to Houston, homecoming on August 24th against Colorado, trip to Ames, then Manhattan, and you wrap up the season with Texas Tech, at Arizona State, and Kansas. So you are missing BYU, Utah, and Arizona. So that's not too shabby. So yeah, maybe the schedule favors up a little more, but I like Houston, I like Tech, and we're going to wait to be seen on Kansas State with Avery Johnson and his new coach Colin Klein, the alumni. Let's see. Bo Tisdall, Lawdog, what's OSU's record after Tulsa and Oregon first 2 weeks? Better win that first one. You have to go on the road and beat Tulsa. There's no way you can keep kind of how they say the dauber up and lose at Tulsa. I haven't done a ton of research on Tulsa yet. We'll get into that in future weeks. But then, like I said, even the game against Oregon, if you split, let's say you're 2-1 after the first 3 games, Tulsa, and you beat Murray State, and then you lose to Oregon at home, make sure that Oregon game is not out of hand in the first quarter like it was last year on the road at Autzen. It was so bad. And you could tell that I just felt like you could tell players didn't care. I didn't get the feel that Gundy particularly cared. So, with that being said, you've got to be competitive with the Ducks and make them realize that they came to Boone Pickens and were, going to be in a game. So thank you, Bo Tisdall, for jumping in on the comment line there at Opt24 Eyewear in Weatherford, downtown Weatherford, right across from the Spaceman. Check that out. If you want quality frames, go see my friend Bo Tisdall, who is also my sideline reporter for Weatherford Eagles broadcast on right.media. So be sure and stop in there. And if you're out that way on Route 66, be sure and stop into Dubtown. Check out the Stafford Museum. I was telling my neighbors the other day, they've got 2 little girls that they're both Air Force vets, or one's active duty. I'm sorry. But they've got 2 young daughters and haven't gone out to the Stafford Museum. I'm like, man, if you're in the Air Force and you got kids and you're interested in stuff, that Stafford Museum will be right up your alley. It is really cool. But if you need eyewear, head on out to Dubtown and check out Opt24 Eyewear there on Main Street and just across from the big Spaceman, and check out the Spaceman as well. So thank you, Bo Tisdall, for chiming in. We've got open comment lines and we've got an open studio line, not 580-952-9145. We would love to hear from you on the studio line, and we've got the scroll there going at the bottom. So as I mentioned, let's just say they go into the bye week, which is October 3rd at 2-2, because it could be tough winning in Morgantown on the 26th. 2-2, and you're 0-1 in conference play. So then, I like going to Iowa State unless their coach, Jimmy Rogers, has some sort of magic left over from the Matt Campbell era, which very few people are saying he does because of all the portal deportations. I'm sorry, exits. That's a better word. But all the portal exits and Matt Campbell going to Penn State, they're saying that Jimmy Rogers could struggle, in his first season mightily, and that it's a total rebuild. So you would hope that Oklahoma State would be in a position they would be favored at Iowa State. Tough 2 there at Kansas State and Texas Tech coming into Stillwater. Kansas is kind of flailing unless they have something that people are going to start looking at and say Lance Leipold is truly still building something there. I don't know, but it's tough. So let's go down the list. Let's say it's a win at Tulsa, loss against Oregon, win versus West Virginia. I'm going to say unknown right now with West Virginia. UCF at home, and they are big on the transfer quarterback that they've got there at Central Florida. I know Scott Frost is pretty hep on that. I don't know. It's hard. It's so hard to say, but let's just say you're at home and you're looking at what they're going to do. Alonzo Barrett, that was the guy. Sorry, I scrubbed the name there, but he's a transfer as well. So UCF, let's just say, I'll go ahead and say they win that. So that's 3-1, or I'm sorry, 3-1 and one unknown. So you could be 4-1, you could be 3-2. At Houston's a loss. Colorado's a win. Iowa State, I'll say that's a win. I'll say they lose at Kansas State, lose to Tech. Arizona State, loss, and let's just say they win on the senior day against Kansas. That's got them at 6 wins. And that's with them probably the games against UCF. I'll go ahead and say they lose at West Virginia. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 wins, and that is a mighty turnaround from a 1-11 team. But will it be enough with all of the kind of press that they're getting? So, but anyways, OSU, they do have some players. I'm going to be interested to pay attention to the Texas Tech transfer, Mo Horn, 5'11", 183, a cornerback. He was Phil Steele's number 46th ranked player last season. Or cornerback, sorry. That guy could end up coming in and making some plays. They've got LaDainian Fields still coming in. Defense will be key, and that's just in the Big 12. That's just starting any sort of play to where your defense can be competitive on the field against some of these offenses. And so we'll talk about some of that here with the offenses and the quarterbacks. I was looking at the rankings of the quarterbacks in the Big 12, and On 3 has Noah Fafita from Arizona ranked as the number 1 quarterback in the Big 12. OU fans saw it about 2 or 3 seasons ago, what he's able to do with the football, and he had an amazing receiver also back then. But it's just it's one of those things where he's already basically got a Heisman campaign getting started by the coach there, and also the media people there at the University of Arizona. Seth Dagey, the offensive coordinator, is going to be doing everything he can for the Wildcats to try to build on Noah Fafita's senior season. He's ranked number 1 by On 3. Number 2 is Devin Dampier, the transfer from New Mexico who played 1 season last year at Utah. I think he really shone out a lot in big games. I like that guy. I liked him at New Mexico. I followed him quite a bit there. It's just tough. And I'll say this, because looking at some of these quarterbacks, to me, I just think, what can the run pass quarterback do in this league? Well, obviously they can do a lot, but the key is when you go up against the better defenses, the Texas Tech and the BYUs, and they take away that run option, what can your quarterback do? And I think that's going to be the question a little bit with Devin Dampier, but man, he is electric and really rushed for 835 yards, 10 touchdowns. He passed for 24 touchdowns, 24, well, really 2,500 yards. And, he was electric at New Mexico and really didn't disappoint at Utah in Salt Lake. But I'll say this, it's interesting. They've got a backup, and it's a kid from Muskogee, Bird Ficklin, who was a freshman last season. He got in and threw 3 touchdowns for 301 yards off of 21 of 35 passing. And he's picked, I think, as the number 2 athlete in the Big 12 preseason. So they've got the talent, and, Kyle Whittingham leaves, but the Utes still have a bunch left in the tank. Number 3 ranked quarterback is Drew Mestamaker. And this is on 3's quarterback rankings. Drew Mestamaker ranked 3rd in the quarterback list. And then Connor Wegman at Houston. He had a great season last year, I thought. Really did a lot of good things. 2,700 yards passing, but didn't have near the bad 25 turnovers to 9 interceptions. That's not too bad. And I know Willie Fritz is expecting huge things from him. And then also they get a big 5-star signing there at Houston with Keyshawn Henderson, who's going to, play in a backup role. So maybe a little bit of different looks that Willie Fritz will get out there. Don't know if he'll get too crazy with the quarterbacks. And then Connor Wegman at number 4 and Bear Bachmeier, the BYU coach or the quarterback, number 5, and then Avery Johnson at Kansas State, number 6. One thing to remember about the Big 12 this season is former Florida projected standout DJ Lagway heads to Baylor, and Dave Aranda excited about having his talent. And I think we saw, tidbits of what Lagway could do. Basically, I think Billy Napier just didn't handle his situation at its best. But he makes the transfer to Baylor, and Dave Aranda's seat is pretty hot, so he needs to see DJ Lagway get something going. Jaden Craig, the quarterback in waiting at TCU, is a Ivy League transfer, and they're excited about him. And with Avery Johnson at Kansas State, it is just such a mixed bag of what to expect from him. I don't know if his family will continue to have issues when they're exiting games or whatever, but it's going to be an interesting situation to see how the dynamic of the family around the program is. And Bo Tisdale interested to see DJ Lagway at Baylor. I am too, because he's the guy who not single-handedly, but he's the guy who led the charge for the Gators last year in the swamp that prevented the Texas Longhorns from having a a playoff berth. That loss to that bad Florida team. A lot of people point to that as the reason why the playoff committee just could not get them in there. So anyways, like I mentioned, Avery Johnson, a true run pass threat. Cutter Boley at Arizona State. He's a transfer from Kentucky. They're excited about him. I think a coach who's not on the hot seat, but kind of on the, what can you replicate would be Kenny Dillingham in Tempe, because he lost his quarterback. Sam Levitt got in the portal and went to LSU and is going to, I'm sure, flourish under Lane Kiffin. And then now, Kenny Dillingham, gets to see what his offense can do without Levitt and without, Cam Scadaboo, who basically, was a do-all for their offense in that playoff run. Bo Tisdale, that Auburn-Baylor game might be a good one. And that is a great segue there from Bo Tisdale, because I was looking at the odds and the opening season openers. Texas Tech plus 100 on the money line to win the Big 12, BYU plus 550, and Utah plus 650. So those would be your three contending favorites. That's pretty confident in the Utah Utes, considering they've got breaking in a new coach. But I guess they feel like there was enough left in the cupboard. And Kalani Sitake at BYU, I'll always like what he does. I'll always like the way he handles his team and things like that. But they kind of showed last year that they could not get over that BYU or that Texas Tech hump, and they would have to put something out there really pretty big, I think, to get the win over Texas Tech. And they don't face the Red Raiders this season in the regular season, so that will benefit them. But man, September 12th, week 2, they've got Arizona coming in to Provo, and that's going to be a huge conference game there for the Big 12. And then they wrap up the season with Cincinnati, which not a lot of teams are talking about. And apparently, we'll kind of get into the whole Brendan Sorsby thing here in a minute. But before that, Bo mentioned the Auburn Baylor game is a rematch from last season where Auburn came into Waco and defeated the Bears. But this one is going to be in Atlanta. That is a week 1, so that's September 5th. And that is, to me, probably by far, well, I don't know. You could say that one or TCU versus North Carolina in Dublin, Ireland. That's in week 0. You could say one of those two would be the top week 1 games by far. Here's the week 1 schedule for Big 12 teams. Kansas hosts Long Island. Yeah, Long Island. Obviously, I guess an FCS team. So I don't think they would bring a D2 team into Lawrence. But Kansas begins their season with Long Island. Colorado, that's a big one there for them as they travel to play Georgia Tech opening week. Iowa State takes on Southeast Missouri. Central Florida has Bethune-Cookman. West Virginia hosts Coastal Carolina. Then the Baylor-Auburn game that we mentioned in Atlanta. Cincinnati has a Power 4 opponent from the ACC in Boston College. They come into Cincinnati for some of that Skyline. Is it Cincinnati that's got the Skyline chili, I believe? Pretty certain. And then Kansas State hosts Nicholls State. Arizona State has Morgan State. Oklahoma State travels to Tulsa. And Arizona has Northern Arizona. Utah hosts Idaho. Houston hosts Oregon State. So the Pac-12 getting some play against the Big 12. BYU hosts Utah Tech. And Texas Tech has that mighty match up against the Wildcats of Abilene Christian. So a couple of Tuttle kid and an Elgin kid that I called games against playing for Abilene Christian. So that one will be interesting. But anyway, Big 12 Media Days kind of highlighted by Sean Dillon taking Commissioner Brett Yormark to task, asking him about, if he basically getting in if he's got personal vendetta against Texas Tech. Sean Dillon listed as a Lubbock media personality. Media personality in Lubbock for me is going to be Ryan Hyatt, who comes on this program and visits with us. But that was the big one. And then also Yormark introduces Monster Energy as the conference sponsor. So there's going to be field spots for Monster Energy, and I guess also on the Big 12 patches. Digging down a little deeper into it, I did notice that the money wasn't necessarily the best. It's a sponsorship, but I don't know that each team's going to benefit that greatly from the sponsorship. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But Mr. Yormark mentioning that is an international brand, and I did not know that. To me, it's just tough thinking that you would tie your wagon to I mean, I'm not going to get on a health soapbox because I had a Hawaiian ribeye last night that my doctor would probably shudder at me having. But everything I read is that energy drinks are just no bueno. So Big 12 ties their wagon to Monster Energy drink, and I'm sure a lot of people under 35 really dig that. So, but anyways, a lot of stuff going over. I thought, and I'll give kudos to the WWLS Sports Animal on social media. Their interviews seem to be some of the better ones and some of the more accessible ones, or things that you would want to hear from with regards to Big 12 Media Days. So good job done by the Sports Animal in Oklahoma City. So, if I'm handicapping the Big 12, like I said, it's going to be hard pressed to go against Texas Tech, because so much of the prognostication has their defense being just really back at it after those three big draft picks to start the draft, and a lot of great players taken. Looks like 5 starters returning on that defensive line, including nose tackle AJ Holmes, 6'3", 300. He's a big guy. So, the defense didn't look shabby for a while against Oregon. It was just the offense that couldn't get anything going. And I know that they feel like they've got, weapons in their backfield and on the outside. Also a big tight end and Terrence Carter Jr. But, Will Hammond is the projected starter once he gets healthy. And, there's been a lot of talk between the OSU faithful on social media and the Lubbock faithful. It's just funny to me that one program would poke fun at kind of jab the other for having a billionaire donor that helped boost the program. And I think some Texas Tech fans have taken the opportunity to mention the Boone Pickens effect in Stillwater. And so, big oil men, they love to support their alma mater, and it helps football programs along the way. And that's what Cody Campbell's doing with the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Joey McGuire, I think he's a quality coach. And, to me, not only are they going to have the money to work the portal and to sign recruits, but he's just beloved in the state of Texas. And so Texas Tech's going to be a force to deal with, particularly as long as the Strait of Hormuz is blockaded and oil prices are getting right up there in the high period. Saw an interesting deal yesterday at a gas station in Yukon. I remember back during the Joe Biden presidency, there were anytime gas prices went high, somebody who would have purchased a sticker with a picture of Biden pointing a finger and says, "I did that," would be put on the gas pump next to the price. Well, yesterday I knew it would happen with gas prices, but somebody put a Trump sticker on a gas pump there at a gas station in Yukon. I paid $4.09 for 100% gasoline yesterday for my truck, and I kind of felt it too. So the Strait of Hormuz and the price gouge. But anyways, what I was going to say is Will Hammond, the fans that detract from, there was a lot of positivity, a lot of anticipation from Will Hammond last season. He gets hurt backing up an injured Baron Morton. But then also, you're gonna exude confidence in your future quarterback. I get that. But also, as somebody pointed out, you were ready to pay a guy from another school $5 million to come in and replace that guy, and was going to be the starter. There's no prognostication that it would be a quarterback battle. And I know Brendan Sorsby is a very talented quarterback, but you do have to wonder, what do they really feel like they'll have in Will Hammond? And then also, while he's recovering, Tulsa transfer Kirk Francis will be taking snaps for the Red Raiders. So you've got to keep him healthy. And, I don't know, maybe they get out and God forbid anything happen to both quarterbacks, they get out and run a single wing, kind of like Oklahoma did in the 2022. Was it 23? What was the year they lost 49-0 to Texas? I think it was 23. So anyways, it's just one of those situations where they've got to get good quarterback play. I think it was really hard on Baron Morton last season in that playoff game against Oregon. Not a lot of protection, not a lot of skill shown from him. But kind of back on what I was talking about with this Big 12 quarterback situation is, like I said, you've got Avery Johnson, Devin Dampier, um, who was the other one? Michael Hawkins, if he gets the starting job in Morgantown. You're going to have a slew of Big 12 quarterbacks who are dual threat. And like I said, that is great. And we've seen dual threat quarterbacks just really burn it up. But man, when you get against a good defense or a defense that is solid and has had time to game plan and throw wrinkles at you, it can be tough. And if that dual threat quarterback isn't succinct in the passing game, I'm generally not gonna slant my predictions or anything to that. Right now, if I had to go with a quarterback to run my program in the Big 12, it would be Noah Fafita. Maybe a nod to Connor Wegman. I don't know. But anyway, so Big 12 Media Days, the Sean Dillon exchange between he and Brett Yormark kind of took over the virality of the week, but it was pretty interesting. So Big 12 looking forward to a big start. Like I said, I bought my preview magazines this week. Been tied up doing some stuff around the house. We'll dig into some more of that as we go along, and me and Jeremy will do some maybe a little bit more in-depth previews of the Big 12 and other conferences. I know that SEC Media Days is going to be 2 weeks from now, and I believe it's a 4-day event. So, anyways, looking forward to and I think Oklahoma starts it off. Texas will be on the 4th day. So interesting there. And we want to hear from you. Give us a comment here on the live broadcast. We'd love to read your comment. Then also you can call the studio line 580-952-9145. We will talk to you if you want to talk sports here on the Weekend Big Show. As I mentioned, no Jeremy Schroeder today, as he is doing his fatherly duties with a collegiate-bound young lady who is his daughter, and we want to say congratulations to her for getting her, what is it they call it? Matriculation? I don't know. Getting her college days underway. Interesting golf going on. Next week is the British Open. I always call it the British Open. People call it the Open, and that's fine, but to me, it's the British Open. Today going on at the Genesis Scottish Open. Looks like Jordan Smith is in the lead. And let's see, they're 6 hours ahead of us. So it's about 3 o'clock there, I guess. Maybe 4. So he's through 18. He's 9 under. He was 7 under today. Fitzpatrick in second place. Rory is tied for third, Rory McIlroy, and Michael Thorbjornsen of the United States is in the mix. He's a Stanford grad from Cleveland, Ohio, and so anyways, he is the top American, and then Kitayama is tied for 6th. So Genesis Scottish Open, beautiful setting there at the Renaissance Club in Scotland. All right, so World Cup continues. We had an elimination game yesterday. France won 2-0 over Morocco. Kylian Mbappe scored a goal in the 60th minute, and then it was Dembele, and I forget his first name, but he scored in the 66th. So France, a force to deal with, and they, come into this tournament ranked number 1. It would take a monumental effort, I think, from all the teams left in it to have a shot at defeating the French in that one. So, just today, let's see who's on tap for today. I think it's Spain. Let's see, where's my World Cup? Yeah, Spain and Belgium. So United States, had they found a way to defeat the Belgians, would have had to face a Spanish team led by Lamine Yamal. A lot of adulation going to him and stuff. So it'll be a great one today. 2 p.m. the start time for that one. So these elimination games will be a little bit earlier for the American audiences, I believe, as they want to get those European TVs tuned in, kind of in their prime time, I guess you could say, for some of the Europeans. But tomorrow, it will be Norway versus England at 4 o'clock, and then Argentina takes on Switzerland at 8. So elimination games going on in the World Cup. I've enjoyed watching it. It's been, it's been some nice games, some fun games. I know the other day, I think Colombia was eliminated via penalty kick, and that was an emotional deal. But just always, always a big affair with the World Cup. And I saw, firsthand in 1994 with the Dutch and the Brazilians coming to Dallas for a quarterfinal game, and just amazing fan support, amazing crowds, just a whole lot of things that were just unique to what I think most people are seeing. Most people see on a basically on a regular basis with the American sports. Not that there's not a lot of pageantry with college football or the NFL, and basketball. Either way, it's pretty much get to the arena, get inside. I've never heard of a lot of tailgating going on in the wintertime with collegiate basketball or NBA basketball, but the pageantry of all of this World Cup stuff has been really refreshing and great to see it, spark up again, because it was 32 years ago that the World Cup was here, and only in the United States. They've also had huge games in Ontario, Canada, and then also Mexico City. So big time matchups there for the World Cup. And I'll look forward to watching Spain today take on Belgium. So anyways, back on football for just a second, because I had a graphic pulled up and I've lost it apparently. There it is. ESPN FPI top 25. Got Ohio State number 1, Texas number 2, Notre Dame 3, Oregon 4, and Georgia 5. Interesting. ESPN goes with that. Don't know if there's still some lagging connections with the Longhorn Network, but I don't have anybody. Let's see. Trying to think. Lindy's might have had Texas. Yeah, they've got Texas at 2, and they've got Oregon at 1. And then I believe Phil Steele, which, the thing with Phil Steele's preview is you about got to have a legend, manual written up on your, wall to follow all of his formulas and stuff. But he has Texas number 5 in his power poll. And then I believe his top 25. Let me go back and try to find that, because I thought I had a place for where it was. He's got Texas number 2 in the SEC. Here it is. Top 25 is going to be Notre Dame at number 1, Georgia number 2, Ohio State, and Texas number 4. So a lot of stuff there to take in. OU picked at number 12. I've seen them around the 12 and 13 range. I can't remember. I don't think anybody has, nobody that I've seen really has Oklahoma in the top 10. So that may be some motivation for Brent Venables and his squad. Interesting to me that Florida with a new coach would come in on this poll at 18. Matt Campbell expected to be a top 20 program at Penn State. Josh Heupel there in the top 20. Feasibly, we could have a 12-15, maybe some other range of matchup between OU and Michigan. Texas A&M, not a lot of love for them to throw them in the top 10, but ESPN did put Texas Tech, as I mentioned earlier in the program. Tech is number 10 there on the ESPN FPI, and I think they were 13 or 14 on most of the prognosticator polls. Notre Dame, man, I tell you, and this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, and we'll delve into some Notre Dame football later on in the month. But I like Marcus Freeman. I think that guy. I think he's a quality coach. I think he was kind of left holding the bag after Brian Kelly left, and I know holding the bag at Notre Dame's a whole lot different than saying you left holding the bag at Kansas. But I think he's made the best of it. I thought they had a great squad in that playoff team. They've got to figure out their scheduling. They've got to figure out if they want to jump in a conference. I think either be ACC or don't. One of the two. I mean, the ACC's got such screwed up travel destinations now. Anyway, what's the matter? What's the matter with a South Bend trip? But it's a big task for him now with a major player also in their state with the Indiana Hoosiers and a national title. So Marcus Freeman probably feeling some heat, but nothing too bad because I think he's got that program in a great spot. And top 5 projection for the Fighting Irish: Miami at number 7, Alabama 8, LSU number 9. And as I mentioned, a lot of people still thinking that Kirby Smart can throw a program out there that will really be able to compete and potentially dominate. So a lot of great stuff with regards to the college football, which is just, I think we're getting into the 60s as far as days left. I'd have to look at one of the posts, but week 0, I think, starts on my birthday or the day after my birthday, August 29th. I'm sure there will be one that evening on the 28th, but that's when I start my play-by-play schedule for the Weatherford Eagles at Lawton MacArthur on my birthday, August 28th. How dare they schedule a football game on my birthday? Lawdog Sports, the weekend big show. Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, here with you, flying solo. Just about 10 more minutes, and we'll get on out of here. We thank you all for tuning in. Thanks, Bo Tisdall, for commenting. You can comment as well. We'd love to hear from you as we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter X. Also, you can call the studio line if you would like, 580-952-9145. It's there on the scroll at the bottom of the screen. All right, so Major League Baseball, a 3-game series this weekend between the Rangers and the Astros in Arlington. And, man, both squads are trying to stay in some contention. It is, it's one of those deals where Houston's been not quite as good as the Rangers on the road, but the Rangers have a nice record at home as well. So tonight, the probables for the Astros on the mound are Hunter Brown. He's 1-0 with a 3.38 ERA. Cal Quantrill, 3-1 on the season, 3.35 ERA. Astros are a 143 on the money, negative 143 on the money line. The over and under is 8 runs. So Texas has a 22-21 record at home. They're 47-46 overall. They have the 5th ranked team batting average in the AL, and they've been dealing with some injuries as well. And then they're going to be their 8th time this season they meet up. The Astros are up 5-2 in the series. So Josh Young having a nice year for the Rangers, 297 batting average, 23 doubles. Ezekiel Duran is doing well as well over the past 10 games, 11 for 40 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. And then, man, how do you pitch to Yordan Alvarez? I mean, that guy, every morning I've been trying to get up and do some physical activity on our elliptical machine. And to get 30 minutes in, it's so much for me, just the boredom of setting that timer and the first 15 minutes. But what I've been doing is on our Roku TV is we have the Roku TV, and it has the Fast Cast, and it's all of the MLB highlights in 15 minutes. Well, that's half of the workout right there. So that's been helping me a little bit as trying to shed a little LBs in preparation for the Mijo's wedding in September. And I can fit in my suit now, I would like to look a little better in my suit for that wedding. So I've been doing a little more physical activity in the mornings. And so, but man, most days when you see the Houston highlight, Jordan Alvarez, he is just, a home run machine, 29 home runs on the season. And the Rangers are 6-4 over their last 10, and the Stros are 5-5. So, this would be a good one for Texas to try to break away a little bit. They're 47-46, while Houston is 46-49. And looking at the standings in the American League West, as I get that pulled up, the Rangers are in first place. They are a half game ahead of the Mariners. Man, Randy Arozarena, one of the All-Star projects, All-Star players, that guy, he wields a big stick as well. And so White Sox in the lead at the All-Star break for the AL Central, 47-45. Don't know if a lot of folks had that one picked. And then the Rays, Tampa Bay Rays, 54-37. I think they got a win last night over the Yankees. Yeah, last night 12-4. No, they lost 12-4. I thought so. I watched the other nights. So last night they lost 12-4. Before that, they had beat the Yankees, but they're 6-4 in their last 10 and dropped that rubber match against the Yankees. Yankees are 51-42. They're 4 games behind the Rays. And then in the National League for our Cardinal faithful, St. Louis in third place. They're 10.5 games behind the Brew Crew. And the Cubs are 52-41, are 7 games. So Milwaukee with a heck of a season so far, 59-34. And the pitcher, Mizorowski, I think his name is. I'd have to look at the All-Star bracket again. But I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, summoning my best Dennis Miller routine. The Homerun Derby this season for the 2026 All-Star Weekend is going to be on Netflix. Now, I realize there are levels of your, commitment to streaming services, to entertainment at home, things like that. But typically, in most American homes in this time, and I say this for my generation and above, is you're going to have cable. And if you don't have cable through your local provider, you're going to have some sort of streaming service that provides those same channels as cable. We have been on YouTube TV since 2021 with a little bit of alteration there where I switched over to Fubo after YouTube TV lost ESPN and Disney. But it is in essence our cable company. In Oklahoma City, Cox Cable is the provider of note, and we were with them for a long time. They're extremely expensive at times if you bundled and had phone, internet, and cable, and your cable service depended a lot on what you wanted to have. But there's a lot of folks that don't necessarily pay for Netflix. And I know those that are under 40 are if you hear this and you're under 40, you're probably like, what the hell are you talking about, Lawdog? We've all got Netflix. Well, yeah. But are the people who are really going to be tuned in to watch the Homerun Derby that aren't any sort of media figure or podcaster or social media commentator, are they going to be prone to tune into Netflix? I'll say this right now. We bought a new TV for our living room. I don't have Netflix logged in because I don't want to go dig into the password list. That's lazy. I get that. But put the Homerun Derby on ESPN, have the ESPN commentators doing it. It doesn't take long. Just get it on regular cable networks. It doesn't need to be on Netflix. And plus, I tried to, let's see, I think it was the Tyson Jake Paul fight. I tuned to Netflix. it buffered and skipped and messed up all over. How do we know Netflix is going to be able to pull this off? I I just think it's a joke that you have one of your, other than the game, the home run derby is the most watched part of All Star Weekend, and you put it on Netflix. So I hope that Manfred gets bit in the butt for it. I hope that the decision makers, find out that it was a total mistake, and I hope they find it out early and with prejudice. So, anyways, Elk City product Cash Mayfield pitching high A ball for the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. He will be pitching Sunday. That begins at 11, and it is the All Star Futures game. And Cash Mayfield, a high draft pick last season for the, I believe it is San Diego. Yeah, he's with San Diego. Fort Wayne Tin Caps is his high A destination right now. But he will be in Philly to pitch in the All Star Futures game. So congratulations to Cash Mayfield. And then also the Major League Draft. Now I'll give the Major League Baseball credit. Throw the draft in on All Star Weekend, make it part of that. I think that's kind of cool, really. Draft begins on Saturday. Your major league teams are going to be in an all-star, or in their final 3-game series, but the draft will be going on there in Philly. So you're giving the city of Philadelphia some things to go over. And then also we've got Kansas City with the number 6 pick, the Cardinals with the 13th, Texas at 16, and Houston at 17. And I think the mock draft I saw had Texas taking a pitcher out of Santa Clara. So that will be an interesting draft, and we'll see how that turns out. Several OU players on the list, and then Arkansas with their catcher is one of the highest projected draft picks of this region. So kudos to them. But anyways, I'll be trying to catch the All-Star Futures game, and Cash Mayfield. I called a few of his games for Elk City when they played Weatherford, and he is a very, very talented pitcher. So projected number 1 pick is the shortstop from UCLA, Rock Chalowski. So we'll see if that goes down as they plan. So we opened the studio line today and didn't have any takers, so nobody wanted to jump on and talk to us. But we have had a nice stream of viewers here, according to the numbers, and then also Bo Tisdale jumping in on the comment line. So was looking for a little breather to stop my talking, but apparently I can talk for an hour, which I've done so now. But we'll start to wrap things up. And another thing of note, Justin Verlander announced that this will be his final season, as he will finish out his career and probably go into a career of being Kate Upton's gopher. So anyways, and there's some of you out there probably saying, well, there's worse work to find out there. That's true, but I mean, he has been a heck of a pitcher for he won that World Series with the Houston Astros, and just I've always thought Verlander was top choice. NBA's Summer League going on. Thunder not playing the greatest, but also, they are just getting the feel for what they have, on that rookie squad, I guess you could say, and then some of the bench players. But interesting time for, Summer League to be going on. They're at Vegas now. They played a couple in Salt Lake, and then, Bennett Sturts and Adai Mara. Those will be 2 names that we follow. And then Otega Owe, I think he's been banged up a bit. So we'll see how the Thunder fare and see what they end up doing. They've still got some decisions to make, I believe. And we could see some trades go down to try to avoid that second apron, or at least a majority of it. And then also, I'm sure all of media is a watch with the LeBron James sweepstakes, as he apparently will not be going back to LA, but I've seen where the top 3 destinations for him could be Philadelphia, Cleveland, or Miami. So wow, that Miami squad would be interesting to watch. I don't know that they would win much, but him and Giannis and and then Bam Adebayo. Pretty interesting there, but it'll be something to watch over the weekend. I would bet. Try to factor in where the most exposure will be given to maybe the World Cup, the MLB draft, or anything like that, and that's when he'll make the reveal. So we'll see how that goes. So anyways, a lot of show today, a lot of things we went over. I probably butchered a lot of things, but I try to give you the best and also give you an opportunity. And the one thing that we pride ourselves here on the Weekend Big Show is that we're in essence a podcast. We're two random dudes talking to the internet, but we're also live. We stream live. So that gives you an opportunity to interact. And I would hope that each and every one of you that catch this today would take time to let people know that if you like sports and you want to talk sports, that we're here and we want to hear from you. And today, like I mentioned, I opened up studio lines, no takers, but it's there. And, Jeremy and I will have that ready to go in the future as well if you want to call in and talk with us. So anyways, it has been a lot of fun here today on the Weekend Big Show. And hopefully next week we can get Jeremy Schroeder back in. And kudos to him for taking the time out and being at orientation for his daughter. And more college football coming up. I think this last week it was, I can't remember if it was Conference USA or the AAC. Let's see, as Jeremy would say, let's see. Yeah, Conference USA. So Marty Wandry at Clinton Liquor jumping on, just now got on. And I put up the Facebook post last night that we were going to go a little earlier. 11 o'clock is going to be our normal time when Jeremy is here. So sorry to jump the shark here on you guys, but I kind of wanted to get things going early. So my apologies, Marty, if we threw you off there. So, but thanks for jumping in. So we'll get on out of here, and we'll have a lot more to cover as far as college football. Major League Baseball gets the second half of the season started next week. We'll be ready for that. And then also the British Open next weekend. Will be a lot of fun to cover on the Weekend Big Show. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And I will talk to you guys next week when we visit with Jeremy Schroeder. And I will try to get the right logo up there. There we go. Lawdog Sports, the Weekend Big Show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also our Spotify channel. We are on Spotify as well at Lawdog Sports. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you real soon.